seen her in a breakout role in a film with Richard Gere called Red Corner, but you've also seen her in films such as The Crow and Wild Wild West. Please welcome to the stage Miss Bai Ling, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome. You want to sit on that side? You want to sit on that side? You want to sit in the chair? Okay, sit in the chair. So, welcome to Berlin. Herzlichen willkommen in Berlin. Welcome to Berlin. And I have to try it out. I have to, forgive me if I'm doing it wrong. 我很高兴认识你.
Oh my God, really good. It's Chinese, perfect. Where did you learn?
Where did I learn? Duolingo.
Are you trying to pick up girls?
Don't tell my girlfriend that. So good. Well, welcome to Berlin. We're glad to have you here. And as always, if anybody in the audience has any questions here, just raise your hand. We've got Sebastian and Lisa here to bring the microphone to you. Otherwise, I guess, I think maybe one of my first questions is, well, have you been in, when did you get to Berlin? Today? Yesterday?
The day before yesterday, I was very, very lucky. So I checked the weather before I left. It's raining and cold. I don't like cold, but I was lucky when I got here. Was first day, I think Wednesday, Thursday, it was sunny. It's like summertime. I was like, wow, it's like really, really, the universe very nice to me. So it's like a read what I wish for. So I went out like dressed sexy, took some pictures of Berlin. So I feel, I don't know, first time I was here, I was a juror member for the Berlin Film Festival. And somehow I feel very welcome. So I really, really like the energy of Germany and German people and the culture. I feel people are like very, very warm. They probably don't express it, but I feel they're very elegant, very kind of reserved in a way. So you have to get to know them to know they're actually very warm. So every time I have opportunity, I'll come to Germany because I feel sort of at home. Ich liebe dich.
Well done. I think your German is better than my Chinese.
German language is most difficult. I think I did one time, they asked me to go Olympic in China. I actually did on TV, was explain and telling a little bit history of Olympic in German. I was, this is impossible. I got a 4 o'clock memorization. It sounds like, ooh, it's very difficult.
Speaking of languages, so you were born in China, you grew up in China, you spent quite a long time there, and then when you started acting, shortly after you started acting, you moved to the US, and you didn't speak English when you moved to the US, did you?
No, I feel like now that I basically forgot my Chinese and my English is still not very good. Then I did the film of Taxi Free in French. So I learned everything, sort of, I really learned a lot of German, but I forgot. It's like, sort of like, sometimes people ask me, so what do you dream? In your dream, which language? I said, I have no language in my dream. It's so funny, I remember the story, everything, but I don't remember the language. It just maybe my mind is more active on image, on the feelings of just awareness of something instead of language. So because the language is really, really difficult, it's very technical. Yeah, I did not speak English. It was really, really difficult. I was watching TV. I cannot even catch up and say yes or welcome. It's really, really difficult. And I made a lot of mistakes and cried a lot, especially like I went to audition. I was in New York. I went to audition for theater for Shakespeare. Can you imagine it? I was like, to be or not to be. The casting director actually picked up the phone, making phone call in front of me. I was crying. Then in New York, there's a Broadway, and there's a street called Bowery, right? The numbers are very difficult for me to remember. I went to the wrong place, and there was a Spanish lady who was yelling at the kid. Then my agent said, why didn't you go to audition? I said, I went in somebody's apartment. So it's really difficult for the numbers, like a lot of tears, a lot of adjustment, a lot of, you learn to be patient, accept yourself, accept the situation, just to know it's all beautiful experience in life.
So that's something, you know, you have, as far as culturally, you know, language languages, things are different, but culturally as well. You have, the East and the West. Were there also difficulties with the culture when you moved away from China?
I think the Western culture, like the language in English, always I want this, I'm doing this, I'm doing this. It's always about I. But where I came from is individual group culture. Like all the Chinese painting, you don't even know who painted. You know the painting. So it's more like, communist country I grew up. But I was ended up like somebody just asked me beside the cover of Playboy magazine. I feel very strange. I came from a communist country and very conservative, then come to the Western world, I become like a cover of Playboy magazine. So it's basically other people discover me. I feel like in the beginning somebody said you're sexy. I was so offended. I feel there's something wrong because in our culture you're not supposed to, if you say somebody's sexy, it's rude. So it took me a long time to learn as a compliment. Now I like people say you're sexy, we like you. So it's very, very different. It's like, and also I learned to be very individual, to celebrate your individuality, to be proud of yourself, to strive for your dream. I think that's mostly a Western culture because people are encourage your personal achievement, personal establishment. So that I really feel I have freedom for that, because in China, I often dress like sexy or say my own ideas, and I get punished because it's just different culture. So I feel more accepted and more free in the Western culture.
So is that something where, you moved to the kind of more free or more liberal or whatever you want to call it, Western culture, and now you're able to celebrate yourself, you're able to be proud of yourself. Is that something that you can now look back on? Because, growing up, and even until, your late teens, early 20s, you didn't have a very easy time. You had a hard time growing up, and you were in the Red Army, and you went to Tibet, and, you had to deal with a lot of difficulties. Does that make it easier now in this Western culture to look back and say, look at what all I've accomplished, look at these difficulties that I've overcome?
I don't think things like that. I feel like because I'm looking at this, but I'm actually looking at you, all of you. I don't see myself. So I don't feel much of difference than when they tell me you're Asian, you're from somewhere, I say, okay, I'm different. But I feel like this world, if I have a power, I would say I'm like, have the chance to be a president or anything, I would diminish all the countries, because I think literally country, building the walls, the boundaries, and somehow it's not united. I think the world, I'm very spiritual in a way, naturally. I think the sky is our home. We're all brothers and sisters, doesn't matter, regardless we look different, a different culture. I think that way we breathe so much more freedom and harmony in the world. So I'm really like, not so much aware of, and now I'm open, I'm free, and not so much aware of what I achieved. I think I'm very lucky to be gifted, even like sitting here, share this moment with all of you. Probably will never see each other again, but these moments belong to us. I really treasure every moment of life. I think that's the meaning of living. It's in the moment, and you enjoy, you give, you share, you feel joy, you share something that is simple and precious.
Very well said. And so, something similar to that, do you think we are a product kind of our own mind? Like, if we project being positive, then positive things will happen, or if we project being negative, then negative things will happen.
I think so, but in my world, it's a vocabulary. Like, I don't have jealousy, hatred, darkness, all of this vocabulary. I'm saying now, but not existing. I'm not thinking of it. I'm not exercising. What you say is right. Wherever you project, that's what you get back. But when you're thinking, if there's no choice, I'm all positive. I'm all great. I'm all like here to give the best. Because I think the gift, we all have our gift, but the gift is for us to give. It's not to keep. But if we're having appreciation and thinking like living one moment of the day. I was like having my social media, I always did cookies. The other day I said I love you at this moment, but the moment is me. I live for the moment. but every moment by moment become internal. That moment become internal and long forever moment. So that's how I live life. That's how I feel. If you live life with that principle, life is so much simpler and easier.
It's very well said. Very well said. Did I see? No, I didn't see it. I keep. Oh, there's one. There's a question here, Sebastian, in the pink. Sam. Salmon. Salmon pink. It's.
Sam, I like your pink coat. I told you.
你好吗？
你好。
What roles do you like playing the most? Like gangster, superhero, damsel in distress? I mean, what type of roles do you like playing the most? And then also, how do you feel about other Asian females? They're always trying to make them like superheroes, you know, kick butt. How do you feel about that? Thank you.
Well, that's a good question. I feel like I have this little spirit in me. I'm like a peacemaker. Like I live life very freely, openly, so I basically do a lot of things. So it's sort of like in my life experience, I experience all kind of characters. When I play it, I really enjoy. I can do all of them. I think actually our mind is our worst enemy. I've never learned acting. I never have fear. I'm so free, so I can do any role easily like that. So in that way, because a lot of times when you're open, you're not limited, you don't have fear, you're so much more powerful. I feel like I'm kind of mischievous. I like all kinds of roles I play, which I did. I play comedy, science fiction, drama, and horror films, all kinds of different kinds of roles. Like some are like very powerful, intelligent, some like just street girls, and some are very extremely sexy. I think it's an element of energy. I think we all can. When your mind is free, you believe you can do something, you actually can. If you have no fear. Like for me, like a lot of times in Hollywood, like director, it's kind of intimidating there. You get off your trailer, the producer, director tell you, are you ready? I say, I'm ready. Actually, at that time, I have no clue. But I know I know what I'm going to do, that I will do the things are great, but I don't know what it is, I just feel it. They said, okay, you want to show us? I said, turn the camera on. So I just have that confidence because I'm excited, because I want to know, I'm like you, like discover the moment. I don't know what's going to happen, but I'm very excited for that moment. So after we're done, I said, turn the camera on, I did it. They said, you're great. They thought I prepared so much, but I did not. When I actually finished it, I said, am I good? They said, you're great. I was kind of a step out of my body. I looked at myself, I said, they asked me, how did you do it? I said, I have no clue. It's like, you know, especially as a performer, you have to be really honest, spontaneous, like children. Children on screen always move you because they're open, honest, they make you cry, you trust them. But adult, like, you kind of like perform. But luckily, I don't have that, how do you say, gate. I'm just open, I just trust. I always trust that moment. If I fail, I fail. So when I have no fear of failure, so I'm always like get magic. When you have no fear of failure, you're always gonna be successful. That's a really simple truth in life. That's what I learned. But you have to be brave. It's like you're walking to here, right? You're gonna go down. I discovered in my life, if you go down, you're gonna die. Like a difference from me and other people is like, I'm afraid too, but whatever I'm afraid of, I'm gonna go to try. And what I discovered just in life, a metaphor. So when you're not afraid of jumping the cliff, and you actually, only when you jump, you suddenly discover you have wings, you can fly. But you will not know you have wings before you're daring to jump. So that's the magic in life that we're not going to try, but when you actually try it, you can fly. So I'm such an adventurist. I will try, I will do dangerous things, I'll have, you know, because it's life, it's fun to do that way. So as a performer, that's what I do. I take any role, I do it any moment, just right there, I will do it. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, that's a really good way to, you know, to look at life and the way to kind of do things, and not just performing, but just in general. And you know, you mentioned Hollywood, and now you've of course started again to make films in China. Correct? In China? Yes, you make films in China.
Yes, I just did a film called Detective Chinatown 2. It's the #1 box office film in China. It's a comedy. So I did a film called Dumplings. I don't know if you see it. It's really, really intelligent, kind of a scary but sexy film. So I won the Asian Academy Award for it. So people cannot even recognize me in that film. So look totally different. Even my family members say, "How did you do that?" Because it's really far from my life experience. But I say, well, I don't know. It's like we have so much potential in life. We don't even know it. So we can do so much than we realize or than we live through even now. But I encourage all of you to try something new because you don't even know it can be brilliant. I think that's the fun of life. It's not about destiny. It's about the joy each moment we're taking to take risks.
Is there a difference between the way movies are made or series or whatever are made in China and how they're made in the West?
Yeah, it's very different because in Asian film, Chinese film still kind of slow. The pace is slow and the story is kind of, you already know the answer, they're still telling the story. Then Western culture is like a lot of fast food, quick, instant results. So it's like, in a way it's very good because they're always fast. They don't want to do, before you know it, you already move on. I think in Asian still sentimental. The love story take forever. It's I think all the Chinese Peking opera, like they always like, I'm gonna leave the room. They're singing forever before they're leaving the room. I think it's a bit different culture. Like we make soup, we make food. Like some soup take 4 hours to cook it, but in Western world it's like everything. Western world the chef's so easy. You cut yourself, you put sauce yourself. Everything's like you do yourself. It's like actually they lost a lot of the ingredients and this beautiful culture of taking time. But the only thing, the wine, because you take so long to make the wine. So that's something always, the older the wine, it tastes better, the quality is better. So I think that's something for personally I enjoy because there's so much richness, nuances in those time-making things or art product or getting to know the person. So I enjoy that process of taking your time.
So there's a question in the back?
Yeah, hi. I have a question about dumplings. And I want to know what was it like to working with Fru Chen and on the film in general, because the movie is very graphic and the topic is a little bit gruesome. What was it like?
Wow, you're basically reading my mind because I was saying there's a secret actually nobody knows since you asked. I just complete another film with him. And he did not want me to tell anybody yet. Because the character I played in Dumplings, so many people love the character. He wrote it, that character extended into another beautiful, heavy and creepy, scary but powerfully moving story. So I played a central character who also doing abortion. Because that's the contemporary world in Hong Kong, like a lot of young kids get pregnant, but they cannot go to hospital, and their parents cannot know it, so they're hidden. Lots of underground, that was very sad, very powerful stories, and was taking my character. We did another film, we just finished. It's really, really powerful. So the Dumplings actually, it's also about like a normal people's life and how they survive, how they express love, how they find humor, and how the really important of youth, how the man or woman trying so hard to become young. Basically, that's the theme of the film. And the character I play, basically, she's enjoy it. You can see her, she existed 2,000 years ago, or maybe 2,000 years later. It's about the joy of mischievous of something when you trust, like the power when you trust, you can actually change. Like my character enjoy of kind of like tease people and help people, loving people. Like in her life, it's like some mischievous kind of seducing and tease. I think it makes it very, very special in a kind of a dark way, but very, very sensual, very, very alluring. And it's something because shot by the Australian cinematographers, like always we work with Wong Kar-wai, the best director in Hong Kong, like In the Mood for Love. Shot by him is like everything like poetry. Even though it's kind of like a horror thing, but it's like poetry. It's like a Western, not a horror film. It's scary, it's like the monster look. But that film is gently, mentally somehow gets to you in that mood of kind of horror, scaring but alluring. So I love working with him. He's very, very daring, very open, very sexually challenged. So waiting for the next movie. It's called, I'll tell you the name, it will be scary. So he asked me not to tell it, but I'm going to tell it. It's just nuts. It's called Master of Abortionist. Master of Abortionist is really, really powerful, but it's really about this woman's beautiful, complicated life, but it's really, really powerful movie.
Cool, great question. There's another question here in front, in the green.
2007 you do in Germany Shanghai Baby. Why don't you get an Italian release and no German release?
Why is there no Italian release of Shanghai Baby? No Italian?
Yeah, come on. It was only released in Italian, but no German release.
So the film Shanghai Baby was only released in Italian, but not German?
I don't know, I think it's directed by the German director. Yeah, and we shot because it's the most controversial book in China. It's a very controversial band. So it's about this girl from Shanghai. Shanghai is the most open place, and she's falling in love with a German guy. Also have a Chinese boyfriend. It's like triangle story. I don't know. I have no clue. I wish because you love it. A lot of people love it, and it's very open, contemporary, still very sexy, but very independent. Especially for a woman, it's a freedom, empower woman. Well, I hope they will. I don't know why. I actually don't know. It's about the German guy this Chinese woman is madly in love with. I don't know why I don't know.
Was the movie shoot in German or in English?
It's in English. We shot in Shanghai, also in, I think in Berlin, Düsseldorf, different places on the train station and apartment.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Good question, thank you. Anybody else on the other side? No? I keep seeing hands go up, but it's always the phones. I keep seeing hands go up, but it's always somebody taking a picture with their
I
phone.
share it because I did a movie, I think you know The Crow. So I want to share with the service Brandon Lee because that was my first English movie. It was very, I don't understand your language. So it's like life is really short, it's unpredictable, uncertain. So he was basically sitting next to me every day doing makeup. So I think he felt for me because remind his father don't know English much, and in Hollywood was difficult. He was very caring for me, so I didn't know who he was. He said, well, I heard you're Chinese. I said, yes. He said, I'm Chinese. I said, no, you look like this handsome Western guy. You're kidding me. He said, I am Chinese. I said, who is your Chinese? He said, my father Chinese. I said, well, okay, what your father do? He said, my father is a big movie star. I said, okay, what's his name? He said, Bruce Lee. I was like, I never heard of it. He was like, you never heard of us? I'm sorry, I don't know. He said, you're probably one of the only person in the world don't know my father. I feel very bad. He was kind of disappointed because I didn't really speak English. So I feel bad. We're shooting in North Carolina. I called my friend in New York. I said, who's Bruce Lee? So then he told me his Chinese name. So next day I told him, I said, I only know, I don't speak English, I know Li Xiaolong, I don't know Bruce Lee, but I said, now I know who your father is, Li Xiaolong. It's like Bruce Lee, Li Xiaolong, totally different. He was like so happy, finally. He said, no wonder. It was like relieved. I feel like that's the culture difference, the language different. Even like a lot of my movies, like The Red Corner I did with Richard Gere, called The Red Corner in Asia, is called Two People Meet in New York or somewhere. I said, I never did that movie. He said, it's you. I said, no, I never did it. They changed names.
So we talked about that with somebody else earlier, how the films changed their names. And I think names are also interesting in some way, like you mentioned Bruce Lee and then his Chinese name, and yourself as well with Bai Ling. There's the phenomenon where, you know, in China you have the last name first and the first name last.
You know, that's a good question because my name, because in our culture, the concept name, there's no first name or last name. We don't think that way. If my name is Bai Ling, that's Bai Ling. But mostly, all the time, your family name is first. So actually, if my name in Western way should be Ling Bai, but I don't like it. I say, who's Ling Bai? I don't know. I'm always Bai Ling. So people ask, what's your name? How you call? You say, you can call me Bai. That's a funny story. You can call me Bai Ling or Bai Ling, not Ling Bai. The first I don't know the English. They say, hey, are you Bai? I said, of course I'm Bai. I said, are you really Bai? I said, yeah, I'm Bai. Everybody said, wow, she's so proud of him. I said, what's wrong? I said, no, nothing wrong. But they were just laughing. I said, what's wrong? I asked my friend, Bai means bisexual. But I didn't know. I said, I'm Bai. But actually, I appreciate the beauty of woman. I often, you know, I go everywhere, I say, beautiful woman. I say, you're beautiful. They actually, a lot of women look at me strange. They think I'm trying to pick them up or not. I just appreciate the beauty of a woman. So it's like the openness, appreciation. But the first time I was in US, I don't know English. Oh, we love your ass. I said, you love my ass? I was so offended. The Westerns too open. But they actually said, I love your eyes. You know, I said, ass? Love my ass? It's like, and also another story. I was dating some guy, like a composer, right? And they said, the guy trying to pick him up, said, you have boyfriend? I said, yeah. He said, what do your boyfriend do? I said, he's a computer. My boyfriend's a computer. Boyfriend computer? I said, yeah. It's computer. I said, yeah, you know computer music? They think I'm out of my mind. It's computer music. I said, yeah. So they look at me strange. Then I found out I was a composer. But I say computer. You know, there's a lot of language barriers. It's very difficult in the beginning. Like when people Western culture say, nice to meet you. I look at the guy, wow, nice to meet you. I was following, I take it personally. Then he turned around and say, nice to meet you. I said, how can you do that? But in our culture, if you say, nice to meet you, it's special, like in Western. Oh, I love you, I like to meet you. It's like, you don't mean it, you just say it. But in our culture, you don't say that unless you really mean it. So I was heartbroken many times because I take it wrong. I look at the guy, I feel like in love, but they're not. They just say, let's have lunch. I said, when? I said, when? Tell me when. Because it's a different culture. Like here, let's have lunch doesn't really mean we'll have a lunch. But for us, let's have lunch, that means tomorrow. Or, you know, it's like a lot of this cultural differences. I have to learn not take it personally. I'm sometimes too serious because in my culture, when you say things, mean it. In Western, people are polite, they're nice, but I say, oh, I love you, but they don't really love you. They love you, but it's not mean that personal love.
It's very different, the cultures. So, well, that's going to wrap us up for today. We're out of time. We're going to keep moving the schedule, but will you be at your table for the rest of the afternoon?
Yes, I'll be there signing autograph. Hopefully I see you in a couple of minutes. So I really, really appreciate all this moment with all of you. I'm very lucky. I feel like it's sunlight for me, all bright. I brought sunlight from LA to here. So I just feel like, I appreciate this moment you're here, sharing this moment. And best of luck, good fortune for all of you.
So thank you everybody for having us. Thank you to Ms. Bai Ling.
Thank you.